Hi everybody, it's Miss Thatcher, and I'm here with another video on how to talk to your children about social injustice and racism. Now, these are very important topics, especially given our current situation. Many people are experiencing lots of different feelings, ranging from anger to frustration, anxiety, sadness. And these are all very difficult feelings to navigate, especially as a child. And so it's important that we as parents and educators help children to understand what feelings they're having and to be mindful of those emotions. And so there's a few steps I want to show you that are really useful if you have a child or a neighbor, a niece, a nephew, anyone who's experiencing some strong feelings. These are not necessarily mine. This is research-based. Counselors and therapists use these a lot. I'm not either, just a teacher and a mom, but they've really helped me to make sure that I know the right things to do with my students and my children. So I want to talk to you about those today. There's three of them. 3 steps. The first step is name emotion. So you want to name the emotion, and that sometimes is hard to do because kids don't always understand how they're really feeling. They don't know if they're angry or frustrated. They might not know if they're excited or anxious. And so it's really important to talk to each child and find out what the situation is, or even adults, this helps them to feel validated and affirmed without being excluded. We always want to try and accept people and include them, and we want to do that in a respectful manner. So it's really important that we learn how to do these steps. Naming the emotion is the first step. You cannot problem solve until you know what it is that we want to solve. And sometimes emotions don't have a solution. Sometimes we're sad and we don't have a way to not be sad about that issue. It's something that's out of our control, like maybe the loss of a loved one. And so it's important to know that we can't always fix everything, but that we can support each other to help solve whatever problems we can solve. So after we've named the emotion, it's really important for children to understand that they are validated. So we want to always validate without affirming. And that had to be explained to me when I first learned about this too. And with that, I'll give you an example. It helped me understand. It might help you as well. So say someone has their grandma visiting and grandma has to leave. When grandma leaves, we don't want to say, oh, you're sad because grandma left. That's kind of affirming their emotion. Instead, we want to validate that they might be feeling sad. So you could say something like this. It's difficult when family members leave. Sometimes that makes people feel sad. So then that way they're allowed to feel how they're feeling without being told how to feel. And then the last step is always the most important, working together to problem solve. And that might look different for every situation. If it's something where they're feeling anxious, you might help them problem solve by doing the 5-4-3-2-1 method, where they look for 5 things they can see, they look for 4 things they can touch, 3 things they can hear, 2 things they can smell, and 1 thing they can taste. That's a nice way to help problem solve anxiety. That can help bring their stress levels down. It can help them to focus on something else besides the thing that maybe they don't have control over. Another thing you can do is helping them to see possible solutions. So in the situation we're in now, teaching them how they can be an ally in the fight against injustice. And then they feel like they're contributing. It might be a donation, a financial donation. It might be participating in a protest. It might be writing letters. There's lots of things people can do, even if they're children, to help solve problems, or at least bring those problems to the surface so people are aware. One of the things that I like to do is to kind of visualize in my mind something that I was taught about how to help children be mindful as well. And so what we do is we tell them to imagine that they're going to blow this candle out, but not quite get it extinguished. Just blow on it so that it will flicker, but not go all the way out. And then they take another deep breath, and then they try to blow the candle all the way out. So this is something that they can visualize in their head. I'm going to show you with the actual candle. So first you take a deep breath, and then you try to blow it out without actually extinguishing it. One more deep breath. And this time you blow the candle out. And so now that's something that I can visualize in my brain. I remember doing that. I remember how it looked and felt when I was doing just a little bit of breath to make it flicker but not extinguish. And then I know the difference how it felt when I completely extinguished the candle. So that's a mindful exercise that I was taught, and it does help me when I'm maybe having a strong feeling like fear or anxiety. I can use those mindful exercises to help calm myself down. And it's really good to practice with children so they have some tools in their toolbox to help calm themselves down as well. I would say that the most important thing with feelings is that there's no one size fits all. Everybody's going to feel a little differently about situations, but it is important that your feelings do help to motivate you to research facts and true information, so that you're not just making decisions based on how we're feeling, but we're using our feelings as motivators to find out the correct information. I hope this helps, and I hope that you guys can use some of these mindful exercises to help with your feelings.